I just got back from watching Thor Love and Thunder about 4 hours ago, so let's talk about it. This will be a spoiler-free review, so don't worry about having your experience ruined at the theater after watching this video. However, if you're like me and want to go into a film knowing absolutely nothing except what is shown in the trailers, then I would click away. Don't worry, I'm not going to be upset by it. In fact, I probably won't even know. That's a lie. Analytics show me. I will be releasing a spoiler-free review later on in the week. I like to give you all a little bit of time to go and see the movie before I post any spoilers, so I'm going to give you a little bit, then I'll drop that spoiler video, because to be honest, I have so much to talk about that is spoilers, and I can't do that in this video. But I still have some non-spoiler thoughts that I want to share, so let's get into that right now. This movie is Ragnarok times 100. And I don't mean that on better or worse or anything like that. I mean in the amount of craziness. Taika Waititi seemed to be given full control. He was not given any limitations on what he could do. And that's very obvious in this film. I think for the most part, he does a fantastic job. I think he knows Thor better than any other director and should continue to direct these movies should Marvel decide to continue to keep making them, which I think they will. Chris Hemsworth, as always, gives an amazing performance as Thor. Loved him in this film. Phenomenal performance. He's definitely gotten bigger, and I don't mean that in the weight like we saw in Endgame. I mean like he looks more muscular than he did in Ragnarok and Infinity War. I mean, it seems like every single movie, the dude gets more and more jacked. But he does a great job, and Natalie Portman is brought back as the mighty Thor, Jane Foster. I had some fears going into this film about how they would play her character, how they would adapt the storyline from the Mighty Thor comics, and I thought Taika and the gang did a fantastic job adapting this story. Taika definitely fixed Jane Foster, kind of redeemed her character from the previous two Thor films. I thought they did a fantastic job with her. Natalie and Chris's chemistry in this film is amazing. They have a ton of great moments together. I was a little bit nervous going into this film that this was going to turn into the Mighty Thor movie instead of Thor Odinson's movie, and that never happens throughout this film. This is definitely Thor's story. Now for what I was the most hyped for going into this film, Gore the God Butcher. I cannot tell you enough what great of a decision it was to bring Christian Bale in as Gore. Christian Bale is one of the best actors, in my opinion. The dude is fantastic in everything he's in that I've watched. And I guarantee you in the movies I haven't watched, he is absolutely phenomenal. So I wasn't too worried going into this film about Christian Bale bringing in a great performance, which he does in this film. I was more worried about how they adapt Gore's story. And for the most part, I think they did extremely well. They hit all the story beats, gave him very good motives, which for the most part throughout the film, I was left with the feeling Gore is right. Not in his methods, not in the way he chooses to carry out his reasonings. I thought he was right majority of the time. And I think they did a good job making him a character you could sympathize with in a little bit of a way and care for. To be honest, I could do a whole video just on Gore alone in this film, but I can't because this is a spoiler-free review, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Christian Bale does a fantastic job in this role, and Gore is by far the best Thor villain we've ever seen on the big screen. The Guardians of the Galaxy were in this film a lot less than I thought they would be. I knew they wouldn't have huge roles throughout the film, and to be honest, I don't really know what I was expecting going in. To be honest, what we saw in the trailers is about the extent of what we see in the film, which is kind of disappointing, but every scene that they're in is fantastic. Korg is amazing as always. Valkyrie, King Valkyrie, great in this film, had a lot smaller role than I anticipated. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I was expecting her to be a bigger character. But again, Russell Crowe's Zeus is fantastic. That's something I honestly didn't think I would see in the MCU. But hey, we got it, and it was amazing. He played great as the role, super funny. Loved all the scenes he was in. The whole sequence with him and Thor was amazing. super funny. That was probably the biggest laughs the theater had. The movie feels very fast. The runtime is about 2 hours and 13 minutes, I believe I saw, and that's including post-credit scenes, all that. And after only viewing it once, I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing. A lot of the fight scenes I feel could have lasted longer. They seem so short. I feel like certain characters could have been given more screen time. I feel like Gore could have gotten more screen time. King Valkyrie could have gotten more screen time. When the final battle happens, I remember sitting there in the theater going, oh my gosh, we're already here. It's almost already over. And it's the same problem with Doctor Strange. It doesn't ruin the movie at all, but I feel like it could have been so much better. Maybe even just 10 more minutes. Just maybe 30 seconds added on to 2 action sequences. Or another scene added between Jane and Thor. That's just an example. I'm not saying that's what the film actually needed, but I feel like this film would have benefited from being longer. That being said, it's a great time. It's a great Thor film. Definitely better than the first 2, although that's not a very hard thing to do, I feel like. Is it better than Ragnarok? I would say no. Now, in 6 months, will I say that? I'm not so sure. I could very well see myself thinking that this is better in 6 months. Regardless, Thor Love and Thunder is an amazing film. It adds one of the best villains to the MCU. There's more Thor in Thor 4. Jane Foster is redeemed in this film. Her relationship with Thor is amazing and actually feels real in this film. Taika Waititi has cemented himself as the Thor director. He knows this character better than anyone else, I feel. And I had a great time watching it. There are a lot of small changes that could have been made that would have made this film a lot better. But I think it's a worthy and great addition to the Thor story. That being said, that's all I have to say for this film. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. Let's try to keep it spoiler free, y'all. I will post the spoiler filled review later on this week, and there you can go mad with all the spoilers in the comment section below. But let's keep it spoiler free here in this video's comments. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate y'all, and have yourselves a fantastic day. Peace out.